This episode of the Unsettled Hunter podcast features a discussion with Koomuatuk Curley. Topics of discussion include a trip that we took to Igoolik, Nunavut in March 2016, as well as Koomuatuk's art. Please check out the webpage of the Unsettled Hunter for links to Koomuatuk's art. Enjoy the episode.
Yeah, I can introduce myself. My name is Koomuatuk Curley, and I come from Baffin Island, Nunavut, and I'm an artist, and
Cool.
sometimes hunting.
So we're talking today because over a year ago, we went to Igoolik for a week. That was my first time on Baffin Island, first time in Nunavut, first time that far north. But it wasn't my idea. So do you want to give a breakdown of why we went to Igoolik? Because it was your plan, I think, or your idea anyways.
Yeah, I had a good opportunity to go to Igoolik to hunt, and I started thinking about it, talking to Anna Hudson, and we were brainstorming what Inuit culture is, and part of it was hunting, so I wanted to film Inuit people hunting and watch them what they do in the Arctic. So that was my idea. And yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
So
Why Igoolik?
It was one of the places that always interests me. I travel quite a bit to communities in Nunavut and Igoolik. I've never been there, and they have a very strong culture there, a lot to do with hunting, and that was my idea.
Cool.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting backgrounds of different hunters. There's seal hunters that only hunt seals. And there's caribou. They go inland to hunt caribou. So some of the hunters, that's how they are. And that's what I learned from them, that we were hunting with Pauli, who was a seal hunter. And we met others that hunted caribou. So hunting, when we catch an animal, we share it all the time, especially with elders. So we don't do it just for us, but for others.
Is there anything that stands out in your memory of when we were at the flow edge?
Yeah.
Other than seeing me bounce around on the skidoo and in the Koomuatuk.
Yeah, it was quite
and
cold.
me freezing.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing to see the flow edge like minus 40. And we've seen a little fox, and the silhouette looks make it look like a polar bear.
Yeah.
And we thought it was a polar bear, and one of the local guys said, "No, that's fox." And it came pretty close to us, and just that little fox was a moment when it passed by us, and those walrus just popped out of nowhere. That was pretty amazing too. And
Yeah, they were big.
yeah,
Meant we weren't going to see seals.
yeah, yeah. I was
hoping. I was glad they didn't stay around. That would have been quite an effort to pull a walrus out of the water.
Yeah. And I had a gun ready to shoot a seal, but nothing came up. And yeah, we go up there. We hunt. Someone provide a rifle, and off we go. So it could be a life hunting when you're up north. That's you can do that for life. So, and a lot of the hunters are like that. It's amazing how they keep going and providing food. So pretty good life.
When was the last time you had been seal hunting before Igoolik? Or hunting in general?
Yeah. I last hunted in Yellowknife.
Okay.
That was back in 2002 or 2001 when I first moved there. And I got invited to go caribou hunting. So we went out caribou hunting. And yeah, I stayed with it for a couple years after I left my hometown. Now I barely hunt, but I grew up hunting with my uncles, my dad, my mom, and my grandparents and friends. So they teach us at a very young age to understand how it's done.
How young? Do you remember?
Since you can remember.
Oh, yeah? Okay, so
Yeah.
very young then.
At 1, you're ice fishing already. So stuff like this, it's our culture. And hunting is a very important thing for us.
Do you miss it? Because now you live... Well, you lived in Toronto for a while, and now you've moved to Ottawa. Do you miss being able to hunt, or does your art keep you busy? Well, it keeps you busy, I know that. But
yeah, I miss hunting. I have many memories of hunting with a bunch of my friends and my family members. So I kind of forget hunting's there because I've been in the city for 16, 17 years now. And before that, it was a big change for me, able to not hunt anymore. So the way I was getting food when I left was carving. So it's almost the same as hunting.
how so? How do you relate the two?
For income, you need to make money, and then for hunting, you provide your own food, which is way cheaper. So carving is like hunting money, hunting food, but it's something I have to buy from the store. That became my hunting.
Huh. That's interesting. What do you like carving? Does hunting or the creatures that you interact with, do they influence what you carve, or where do you get your artistic influences from?
I try all different ideas, and that's part of the challenge I see. So when I start carving a rock, it's not I have an idea what it's gonna be, but sometimes I mix different animals in one stone, which are called transformation, and trying different things. It's that's my inspiration. So I don't know how I get it.
It was probably an unfair question,
but it was a good question.
Do you have a favorite or a preferred thing you like to carve, or is it just whatever?
Yeah, I do a lot of polar bears. It's I'm still learning, but I'm working on how to make them look real, and it takes a long time to learn. I'm still learning when I'm carving bears. People know me as a polar bear carver, so I try to stick with that. And polar bear's my favorite, and it's anything else second.
How long have you been carving for? Similarly, like to when you learned how to hunt and fish?
Yeah, I started a little bit later, but they start us young too. When we're little babies, they give us a piece of file or sandpaper. So you're sanding there with your mom or uncles for grandpa's piece. So I remember sanding, helping my grandfather. At least I was 5, and I started carving when I was 8, 9. That's when I sold my first carving. I was 8 years old, and I was pretty shy to go show it to the person who's gonna buy it. I even started crying, and my mom took me there, and they bought my carving when I was crying. I got $15.
Oh.
It was a ring seal, a little seal. My grandpa told me to make a seal. He gave me a small piece of rock, gave me an axe and files, just the way he does it. He never used power tools. So in between 8 and 12, I was on and off, but I was always carving at young age. It's something I want it to be. From watching my grandfather and Dorset artists, there are many good carvers there, and I think that was my inspiration to be part of the carving town. And before I knew it, I was Cape Dorset artist. Yeah. So at 13, I started using power tools, and it was a lot quicker than going traditionally. So after school, I would run home and rip out a carving in about an hour and go sell it before they stop buying at 5.
Wow.
And I did that almost every day after school. And so...
Were polar bears your favorite then? Or have you kind of just developed that?
Yeah,
as you got older?
polar bears are all around Cape Dorset. So it was part of my hometown where the polar bears live in the Arctic. They live with us. And I was always fascinated how powerful they are in the north, and the way they hunt seals, and just the animal itself is so powerful, and that's something I want to show in my polar bear carvings. Same with others. I do seals, birds, whales, people, transformation, and I try to finish them the right way, and that's something I was taught, is to be patient carving. Yeah, it's like hunting. You gotta make money, and there's similarities between carving and hunting, but our tools to kill is gun, and our tools to make are machines. So there's both of them are tools to provide food on the table.
Yeah. You're searching for the animals in the rock too.
That too, yeah. It's challenging sometimes, but I could see a rock and see a 3D carving in it. So that's what I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd ask you how you see that, because I don't see it, but I don't think that's not a fair question. Again, please describe.
Yeah, and
But
I never drew nothing on my carvings. It's always
just
by eye.
wow.
And sometimes I used to make mistakes, because when you make a mistake on a rock, you can't go back. You just have to go what width is what you have. And
Kind of like hunting again.
yeah, yeah, something like that. So carving seals, I know we hunt them. They've been providing food for us for thousands of years in the north. also carving seals is pretty fun. Like those two.
What are they doing?
They're throat singing.
Throat singing.
We can, these days, we can come up with any title, but some of them we try to use the story from the north. Instead of two women throat singing, there's two seals throat singing. And that's an idea that we bring out of the stone. So
Cool.
yeah, there's not much rules in carving. So, but it's pretty dusty job, so we wear masks all the time. So
What? Because I came and visited you on your place in Ottawa. What are you working on here?
yeah, I'm working on a giant polar bear. So it was 31,000 pound granite. I got it here in September last year, and I've been carving it on and off about 6 months, 7 months. Yeah, it is 8 feet high.
That's a big polar bear.
Yeah, yeah.
And a big sculpture.
Yeah, this is something new that is coming up in Inuit art world also. Is the monumental carvings made by Inuit are gonna keep thriving. So it's pretty amazing what can be done through Inuit art, and new things coming up, new opportunities, and I want to help artists to make big sculptures, and that's a possibility that I want to do, and teach them, and so they can do it on their own. That's become kind of my job, to teach people how to do big carvings, and it's pretty exciting stuff. Doing monuments takes a lot of time and effort to make them, but in the end, they're worth it. And people are gonna be more interested in Inuit art monumental pieces, so we're going on the right path with the monumental sculpting.
Cool. I think that's a good place to end it. Unless you,
yeah, that's all about I can think of. And thanks for having me, Chris.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll have to go back up north and go hunt some more seals.
Sounds good to me.
Or do some carving.
Cool. Thank you.